The incorporation of interactive digital media offers a great opportunity for the contemporary EFL classroom. Together with those students, we were able to build a library of selected iBooks that set an outstanding example for how deep learning and electronic devices like iPads bring language learning to the next level. Our library includes iBooks regarding various intercultural topics that are meaningful for today's learners. For example, a book about Black Lives Matter, a bilingual iBook about climate change, or iBooks that tackle historical and contemporary issues and events. Now we will take a closer look at the iBook Hawaii, Beyond Flowers, Ukuleles and Surfing to illustrate how an interactive schoolbook works and what it can look like. The assignment was to develop and design a deeper learning episode in the form of a digital and interactive iBook. Each iBook has a unique cover. This one is followed by several chapters and subchapters dealing with different Hawaiian topics. In the beginning, the book welcomes learners, provides organizational and structural information, and sets a frame for the learning experience. The first part serves as a manual for this new type of schoolbook, introducing icons that reoccur throughout the whole iBook, which are backed up with further explanations as well as lists of action verbs that are differentiated in 3 levels of complexity, which make methods, tasks, and social forms more transparent and accessible for learners. In the following, we will focus on the deeper learning episode in Chapter 3, A Walk Down Memory Lane, which covers the events, causes, and consequences of the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. At the beginning of this deeper learning episode, the author explains why this topic is meaningful and relevant for students' personal lives, provides an overview of their learning objectives, and the outcome of their individual learning progresses. The major didactic focus is set on the cognitive discourse function explained within a historical context. Afterwards, an introductory interactive task marks the beginning of the deeper learning episode and activates learners in an engaging task that is mainly related to the story frame and smoothly leads over to the actual topic. The activation phase continues as learners get together with a partner and brainstorm about the Pearl Harbor National Memorial. This is supported by widgets including guiding questions, a digital whiteboard to take notes, and a gallery to make their virtual trip more authentic and to give them a first impression about the memorial itself. Then the surface phase begins and learners are confronted with their first thematic task. Note that the critical discourse functions are written in bold so learners can easily spot the underlying action task. Through an interactive widget, the required video is embedded directly into the iBook, which allows constant task access and avoids the need to switch between different tabs while working on assignments. Furthermore, the focus is set on the construction of basic knowledge, which is also supported by colloquial language use. In doing so, learners can focus on their assignment and are not further hindered by register. Besides, they can gain additional information through the pop over widget. The tasks on this page offer learners an opportunity for knowledge co-construction as well as to demonstrate their understanding as they organize all the facts and information from the previous task. Their work is presented in the form of a social media poster and Padlet, which connects to their everyday lives and incorporates a form that further enhances engagement, interaction, and communication in the form of comments of constructive criticism. In the next step, learners will deepen their knowledge about the attack on Pearl Harbor. First, they are asked to watch a video. Lexical help will support their understanding. Secondly, they organize the knowledge from the video as well as previous knowledge in a timeline. The underlying method is think, pair, share and simultaneously makes learners construct, communicate, revise and present the knowledge while they also get feedback from their peers as well as from their mentor. Thirdly, learners use their organized knowledge from task 2 and prior activities and continue to the level of explaining. Before proceeding with their explanations, they get an overview of the CDF explain and its different levels of complexity, starting with the lowest level of complexity, temporal explanations. This task is supported by scaffolding in the form of sequential connectives that help to write the temporal explanations and furthermore lead to a shift towards more scientific language use as they enhance textual coherence. The importance of learning as a process is emphasized as learners get the chance to write their own explanation, receive feedback via Padlet, and then improve their work by incorporating tips from their peers and their mentor before finally submitting their revised explanation. As learners have now intensively dealt with the events of the attack itself, they will now learn about the factors leading to the attack. The text in the upper right-hand corner reveals first insights about why this past event is still meaningful and relevant for learners today. Below this text are 4 different tasks accompanied by scaffolding in the form of tasks for deep practice, lexical help, and how-to pages concerning the increasing complexity of the CDF Explain. If we now take a closer look at the individual assignments, one can observe that they follow the 4 phases of deeper learning episodes, namely the activation phase, surface phase, consolidation phase, and finally the transfer phase. At the same time, learners go through a process of doing, organizing, explaining, and arguing. In Task 1, the act of doing consists of the reading activity. Within the pop over widget of Task 1, learners can choose their preferred text level. Both icons include the same article, only differentiated for different learner levels, which enables learners in heterogeneous settings to participate in the same activities. Besides the article, learners have access to the task, lexical help, and useful information. Words or phrases that are included in either type of scaffolding are underlined. In Task 2, students learn to organize their knowledge in the form of a concept map. The method itself is explained in a how-to page and backed up with a short quiz. After the creation of a concept map, each student uploads their concept map on Padlet and provides feedback for their classmates. This feedback again serves to improve their work and to hand in a revised version. Task 3 aims at the move along the mode continuum from colloquial to scientific language use by introducing nominalizations in a how-to overview. Then, leading over to the surface phase, in which learners have to identify nominalizations and collocations or chunks in the previously read article. And finally, the consolidation of their new knowledge about scientific language use, as they have to practice and internalize their knowledge with a digital worksheet. Task 4 represents the transfer phase. Here, learners apply their knowledge to their own explanation. Not only do they move to a more complex level of the CDF Explain, but they also incorporate scientific language. In doing so, scaffolding in the form of different types of useful connectives, as well as an overview of the requirements of causal explanations, are always accessible. After their first attempts, they share their explanation with their partner, check if all requirements are included in their explanation, and leave notes and feedback in their partner's document. Then they share their explanations with the class, get the chance to revise their work, and finally share their finished product, a scientific causal explanation, with their mentor. In the next step, the deeper learning episode deals with the aftermath of the attack on Pearl Harbor. As one might have already noticed, interactive elements such as widgets or visual elements like videos and photos play a major role in this digital textbook format. However, note that at this point trigger warnings are included as we dive deeper into this topic so that individual learners are protected from possible traumata and prepared for what they will see if they choose to swipe through the gallery. Although these photographs make the historical event more accessible and imaginable, learners are still confronted with real war scenes in a school context. The subchapter about the aftermath of the events is divided into the aftermath immediately after the attack, as well as the consequences in the 21st century. Both parts follow the classic constitution of deeper learning episodes as they move from activation to surface to consolidation and finally to transfer as tasks guide learners through a process of doing, organizing, explaining, and arguing from colloquial to scientific learning products. Just as on previous pages, different types of scaffolding and support accompany learners as they follow their assignments. And just like before, articles are provided in differentiated forms. In The Attack on Pearl Harbor, Historic and Present Times, they wrap up all the knowledge they have gained through deep practice and deep understanding in this deeper learning episode. This time, they communicate their knowledge on the highest meaning dimension in scientific language, as well as on the highest complexity level of the CDF Explain. For this task, learners are free to choose between written text, audio memo, or video format for the learning product. Even now, during the biggest transfer stage so far, it is crucial that scaffolding is provided and that learners get the chance to engage, criticize, revise, and improve their product before they finally share it with their class on Padlet. Commenting on each other's outcomes emphasizes the collaborative learn script, engagement, and individual progression. At the end of this book chapter, widgets allow students to revise their new lexical skills, fill in a form about self-evaluation, and give their mentor feedback on how they experienced their work with this chapter. All in all, one has to emphasize that deeper learning through digital textbooks can only be achieved if the content is presented in a meaningful and authentic way. Only then learners will stay curious, motivated, and engaged. Call to action widgets, assignment formats that connect to their everyday lives, and the individual results form the basis for the pluriliteral deeper learning process. In doing so, this iBook shows that digital textbooks can still be interactive and engaging, and are not only focusing on reading or individual work, while still being rich in content.